Hey guys, just one other thing we wanted to add it on. I decided to get in touch with my friend Meg Fletcher, aka the Angry Pizza Gay, so that way we could review, since that it's Comic-Con, some of what we really love to talk about is the DC TV universe, aka the Arrowverse. Meg, hey.
Hey there.
What's up?
Oh, you know.
Just the usual. So we just want to make this real quick because Dan and I already talked about it briefly on this podcast. I figured since that you and I are so much more knowledgeable about the Arrowverse in and of itself, and it is Comic-Con weekend, we might as well talk about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. The trailers for it.
Yeah.
We're just going to run down the DC Arrowverse, and then while we're at it, since that you and I love to talk about DC so much, we're also going to talk about the two big DC trailers that dropped.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So first things first. Do we want? Let's just go down the Arrowverse in the order of when these series were released, starting with the granddaddy of them all, Arrow.
This is a good trailer.
That was a very good trailer. I don't know how I feel about the season. I do like the idea of what's his name? I can't think of it.
Ricardo Diaz.
I know it was like a very
Yes.
Diaz. I knew it was a Latin name. Thank you. Yeah. So Diaz. I like the idea of him going after revenge against Oliver Queen, but at the same time, Oliver's already in prison.
Yeah, you kind of got you didn't want the Green Arrow around anymore. His whole goal last season was to put the Green Arrow in prison. Well, that was part of his goal, anyways, and he accomplished that. What more do you want, dude?
Not much, I'd say. The other. I mean, this was a well stitched together trailer, and if anything, I'm liking it now. How as the seasons are going on, Oliver is beginning to look more and more like the Green Arrow of the comic books.
He is. He's got this beard, rocking the beard now.
He's got. Yeah, I'm hoping that by the end of the season we get the goatee. I mean, even though let's be real here, for all intents and purposes of being a vigilante, it is kind of stupid to have a very distinctive styled looking patch of facial hair.
Right. Well, obviously he's going to get out of prison at some point. So, and he's going to be the Green Arrow again. So, there's really no keeping your identity a secret at this point anymore.
Right. Considering the fact that he's in prison for being the Green Arrow. I do like this idea though. And it's something that I don't know if they've ever delved into it with the Batman comic books, but they did it in Watchmen. I don't know if you're familiar with that comic book or the movie.
Not really. I wasn't a fan of the movie, so I didn't really.
Well, the funny thing is about remember the part where Rorschach goes into prison, and he says the line, "I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." I'm gonna enjoy that aspect because I always like it when they're like when the vigilante in these kind of stories when the vigilante gets thrown into prison, and obviously a lot of the criminals that are in there, he probably put them away so they have an axe to grind.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot.
I like that idea of like, hey, I'm gonna try and sneak up on the vigilante that has ninja training. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you can't sneak
My
up
only
on a
gripe
ninja.
about this whole thing is that they did it with Barry last season.
Yes, but here's hoping they do a better job with it, considering the fact that Oliver has confessed to being the Green Arrow, so it's
I think it's gonna last a lot longer than Barry's incarceration did anyways.
Right. Well, my problem I felt with the Flash of last season was they rushed everything. They could have at least waited, I don't want to say like even half the season, but definitely 2 or 3 episodes they could have gone without Barry being back. Yeah, but I mean, you know what though? Like, we talked about it, and long story short is we didn't hate this past season of Arrow. I don't think, at least I didn't. I just wasn't.
And
blown
I'll be
away
okay with next
That's
season as long as Diggle isn't the Green Arrow again.
Yeah, no, that was just stupid, and I don't think they're going to because this guy uses an actual bow and arrow, not a crossbow. Yeah. So, all right. So bottom line is on a scale of 1 to 10, Meg, how excited are you for this upcoming season?
I give it a solid 7.
I'm gonna go with I'm going to agree with you on that one, kind of. Maybe a little lower, maybe closer to the 6.5 side of the scale. Just because, like I said, how lukewarm I was about the previous season. I'm kind of that lukewarmness is kind of carrying over, All right. So moving on now, let's talk about what was the other one? Oh yeah, Flash.
Flash was it was an okay trailer. It wasn't the worst of them. So
no, no. No, it was. I mean, it's just again, this is just one of those things where, like, after the last season, I don't know how excited I am for it. The trailer, I don't know if the trailer gave away too much or not enough, but it just feels like they're going to be falling back into old tropes, like constant. The speedster is there going to be a speedster for a villain? Because I didn't know who that villain was, other than I assume that villain that they showed at the very end with the dagger. Oh yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen the trailers. Yeah, right. I can't believe I just said spoilers for trailers.
There is a reverse Flash in the comics that can bend metal.
I'm not arguing whether there is or there isn't. I'm just saying I felt that dude was given the way they made his shadow look and the fact that he has a breathing apparatus is like, oh, so we're ripping off Darth Vader again, DC.
Yeah, I got a very Darth Vader-y. Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, can we be real here? The only show on the within the Arrowverse that has the right and the ability to use Star Wars references properly is Legends of Tomorrow.
And they do so well.
Yeah. Unless it's coming from Cisco.
Cisco is great in that trailer, actually. Anybody need another drink? I do.
and then he just downs
Cisco's
the champagne.
Probably the reason I'm still watching that show. Joe.
What about Joe?
I mean, I like Joe, but I don't need Joe.
I mean, can we be real here? Like, not to give too many theories away, but I mean, we all know that in all these shows, there's always one death. Somebody's got to die. I don't know. I'm not saying I think it's Joe's time to die, but I think if anybody's going to die next, it would be Joe. I mean, that would be my best guess, just because they need to add more of emotional weight to Barry.
They do. He's just he's a very one-dimensional character, even though they try to make him
become very one-dimensional.
But he doesn't really have that many. No.
So on a scale, my thing with this trailer though is, you think it gave away too much. I almost feel the same way, but I'm just rolling my eyes because I'm going, okay, so you guys clearly tried for what now? One whole season to not do anything involving time travel or another speedster, and it didn't work. So now you think it's a good idea. I mean, I get why you would think it's a good idea to go back to it. But
I think we're going with I think it's gonna have to do with the Tornado Twins.
I'm not too familiar with the Tornado Twins.
I think one of them, I don't actually think in the comics that they're his kids. I think they're his niece and nephew in the comics. But I think they're going to make them his kids. And I think...
No, they're the children. They are the children of Barry. They are the children. I'm looking it up on Wikipedia right now. They are the children of Barry and Iris.
They are the kids. Okay, yeah, so I think they're going to spin this some kind of time travel way. Once a good twin, once evil twin. We got to fix time so he doesn't become evil. That's my theory going right now.
Honestly, based on what you just said, I wouldn't be surprised.
Just because of all the shit that the girl, I don't even know what her name is or what she said her name was, the daughter.
Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn. What she said in the trailer, how she made a mistake, and whatever she did has obviously fucked up the future.
We got it. Your kid's body. Something's got to be done about your kids.
Yeah, clearly, the children did not learn from their fathers.
Well, how can they when he keeps fucking with the timeline?
Truth.
Or as we, what do you call it? As we Flash fans have gotten used to saying, "Damn it, Barry."
Damn it, Barry.
Okay.
Motherfucker just needs to stay in the house.
Exactly. Like, I don't even want to see Barry going out for a jog. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's too fast.
Not even
Stop,
power
Barry.
walking. Don't even power walk, Barry. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this upcoming season?
I give that one a 5.5.
You keep giving like a half grade above me because I'm going with a solid 5. I was
Okay,
very
okay.
lukewarm. I was very flat about it. So what's next on the list? Legends. Legends. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think that Legends was necessarily a great trailer, just the way it was stitched together. But I mean,
It's Legends.
yeah, we've been saying it for the last 3 years. Even Dan's in agreement with me.
Bebo, I had naked lesbians. I had I had everything I wanted from that trailer.
I'm just excited. We're gonna see what do you call it? More John Constantine.
Yeah. I didn't like Constantine at first, but he's grown on me, so I'm excited to see what they do with him.
Are you kidding me? A snarky Brit with magic powers? I love it.
Yeah, and apparently they're doing they're doing more magic, obviously, because they've got Constantine, but they're doing more mythological things rather than historic things this season.
I feel like based on some of that trailer, I feel like Legends is gonna get very, very meta.
It's gonna get weird.
It's gonna get well. I mean, first you have Mick just sitting down complaining about we've been doing the same thing for the last 4 years. It's like, yeah, kind of, sorta. And like Sarah constantly saying, hey, we didn't mess things up. We didn't have to clean up our own messes for once.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I hope they don't get too serious with it because I that show obviously is.
No, that show thrives on not being serious.
Yeah, I hope they don't get too serious with it, but yeah, it should be good. Should be good. I don't have that many complaints about the trailer. I mean, too much reused footage, but.
So for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, on my excitement for this upcoming season, I'm just going to give it a solid 7, just because I don't think the trailer in and of itself was very good, but Legends hasn't steered me wrong since the second half of the second season.
And that's why I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay. I'm just simply basing my, just the general, not just the hype of the previous season, but just how well this trailer in and of itself hypes me up. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Moving on, finally, oh boy. Oh man, this one was just Supergirl.
Garbage.
Considering the fact that I think there was only like maybe in a 3.5-minute trailer, I think there was maybe a grand total of 15 seconds.
I was gonna say there's probably about a half frame worth of new footage in that, and it was just Alex and Brainiac.
That was Brainiac?
Yeah, it was Brainiac.
Hold on, I gotta rewatch this trailer. I didn't see Brainiac once in this. Supergirl.
Oh yeah, and the other new piece of footage was that weird Supergirl in a spacesuit thing. What the fuck was that?
I have no idea. Hold on.
The universe is vast. They come from outer space. They take our jobs, our culture.
I know you and I have never explicitly stated our political leanings. I'm sure some people can guess, but or if anybody's seen either one of our social medias, they know right away. But bottom line is, even like this opening rhetoric, I get it, and I'm just saying, like, it'd be nice, even for me personally, if like just for once Supergirl decided not to be the social justice warrior show of the CW.
Yeah, I always enjoy Supergirl's little political jokes that they throw in at least once or twice an episode. I always enjoy them and I always laugh at them, but that was straight up and in your face.
Yeah, no, it's so my thing is, and by the way, when you said Brainiac, I suddenly remembered. Oh yeah, that's right. You were talking about Brainiac 10 or whatever his name was, like the Descendant,
right.
Not like, because when you said Brainiac, I thought you meant like the actual Brainiac.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Yeah, the actual villain. But at any rate, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think they don't explicitly say who this guy talking is at the beginning, but my money is on Lex Luthor.
Okay, so that is Agent Liberty.
Okay, yeah. I'm an agent of Liberty. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Lena has something to do with this at the very least, because, they want to do there's this Arrowverse, and I'm not saying I have an issue with this, seems to be doing a lot of let's add the female counterparts to some of their villains, but which is fine. Whatever. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, the CW has like their own
I just found his
angle and stuff like
Wikipedia
that they
page.
want to go
Apparently,
with.
he has his own. He has his own comic book.
Yeah. By the way, this is running longer than I thought it was. I think I'm just going to make this it's a
Okay.
bonus podcast instead. Yeah. At any rate, so yeah, we got that. Honestly, like, I just don't know how I feel about the
As a whole,
Arrowverse. I mean, not as a whole. Just like I'm at Supergirl. Like, I'm gonna straight up say it 3 on my anticipation scale.
Yeah, I was gonna go about that actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what's going on other than, oh, hey, we got Agent Liberty and Supergirl in a spacesuit, question mark?
Yeah.
Looking very Samus Aran at the end, I felt.
So at the very least, at the very most, they have, I don't even know what to say as far as the very most is concerned, but at the very least, they have 2 different storylines going here.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they tried to have 2, they tried to have 2 storylines going at once in the last season, and can we be real here? Like, the Alex story arc may have started off weak and then just didn't go up from there. I'm sorry to say.
No, it didn't. It was just a rolling tumble that they never found their fucking feet from afterwards. It was awful.
I'm still trying, and as far as the main story arc goes, I'm still trying to figure out how, just because you separated Rain from Sam's body or psyche, whatever it was they did, how is it you're able to remove her Kryptonian DNA and replace it with all human DNA when she wasn't even born a human?
Yeah, this is a CW. They don't have to explain their science to you. You're just supposed to accept it.
I reject your reality and substitute it with my own.
That's fine. I like your reality better than the CW's anyways.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So at any rate, yeah. So overall, how excited are you for the upcoming Arrowverse seasons? Oh, and by the way, I feel like we should probably bring this up too. I really don't like the idea, although I might be excited for Batwoman. I'm not excited for the idea of there not being the legends in the crossover.
Same.
Yeah. Like, what was I tweeted it to you? It's like the same idea as like going to Game 7 of the World Series and your best hitter's riding the bench.
Exactly.
Or, you're going to the Super Bowl and your quarterback's out. Like,
I mean, yeah, and yeah, it's like, what can you possibly have planned that the legends can't be involved?
I mean, the introduction of Gotham City and Batwoman, which I guess, considering the fact that they've greenlit a Batwoman TV series, which I personally am not the biggest fan of it, but if this is the closest we're going to get to an actual Batman TV series, fine, I'll take it.
Right.
Right. But, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not that I'm not looking forward to the character of Batwoman. Like, I feel like, it is a character that should probably get some new light shined on her and everything like that. So, and they are going to make her full lesbian right from the get-go. So my question is, does she end up having a foursome with Sharp, Sarah, and Alex?
Actually, somebody asked that at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. Oh no! Let's see if I can bring the quote back up, because what's her face? The chick that plays Ava Lance answered it. It's hilarious. Let's see. Yeah, here I am. No, I hate Twitter on PC. By the way, it was meant for mobile. It was meant for mobile. Oh, there we go. Katie said about a potential Ava Sarah Batwoman triangle. I feel like, yeah, just some, cheesy shit, because, they're going to make Sarah soft this season, unfortunately. I think so.
Oh, no, she's the best character on the show after Meg.
It says, I feel like Ava and Sarah have something. It's more than a fling, so some hot chick in a bat costume isn't gonna pull her away.
That's a lie. That's a lie. So at any rate, that whole concept, I mean, I'm trying to take the good with the bad, though. like the idea that they're not going to have the legends in the show, because if they want to have the legends in the I kind of get it, because if they want to have the legends in the crossover and also make it and also introduce Batwoman into this mythos, then that would be very bloated. Because think about how many extra characters you would need to juggle.
Yeah, it was last year was a lot of characters.
Right. I mean, at the very least, can we just get Mick and Sarah to show up? Like, that's it. Those are the only two legends I really want to see.
I really just wanted to see some Sarah, Ava, and Alex awkwardness.
Yes, that's what I mean. Okay, Sharp can come too. Ava Sharp can come too.
Yeah,
those three,
and you know what, Mick? Yeah, definitely Mick, because after that whole "you hit that" line, yeah.
Wait, what was that line again?
The line where Mick asks Sarah if she hit that, referring to Alex, at the end of the crossover.
I got to rewatch the crossover. You'd hit that, and she didn't admit to hitting it. I can't remember.
She slapped him in the back of the head, so she admitted it.
Oh, okay. All right. So, let's you and I move on now. We never answered the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you just for the Arrowverse as a whole?
As a whole, I guess a 5 or 6. I'm not that excited.
I'm hovering around that area too.
Yeah.
I'm really hovering around that area.
I mean, if they can bring themselves back, let's see what they do. I'm going to give them a chance.
I mean, so the way I'm breaking it down is Legends doesn't need to redeem itself.
No.
Arrow doesn't necessarily, I won't go as far. I think redeem might be too strong of a word, but I think Arrow definitely needs to pick up the slack, especially considering the fact how awesome season 5 was in terms of not just redemption, but as a season as a whole.
Right.
But the Flash and Supergirl, they got their work cut out for them, I feel. More so Supergirl, but still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supergirl needs to get their shit together, and the Flash. Yeah.
All right. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the bigger aspects of the DC movieverse.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's not. You know what I mean? The DCEU, the big screen for the DC.
The big screen.
Yeah. So 2 trailers have been dropped out. Both of them are actually going to be part of the DCEU, which I was shocked about because I thought I was hearing that Shazam was not going to be part of it.
I didn't think that it was going to be part of it either. It is.
I heard that it wasn't, but then in the trailer they show both Superman clippings about Superman and the Batman, the Batarang.
I did see the Batarang. Okay.
Yeah. So here's my thing about it.
Just so you know, I am not caught up on the DCEU, but I don't care about spoilers. And I will be watching the Justice League for the first time very shortly because it showed up on my DVR. So now I don't have a choice.
Well, yes, you do. And look, I'm going to say this to you right here, right now. Did you see, or let me ask you this first. Did you see Wonder Woman?
Yes.
You saw it, right?
Yes.
What did you think of Wonder Woman? Good or bad? Just give me that.
It was good.
Okay. So do you remember how much hope you had for the DCEU after you saw Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's gone. It goes away.
Yeah.
It goes away after you watch Justice League. In fact, I really hate saying this, and I truly do, but if you go back and listen to my podcast, I talk about it. I like the movie, don't get me wrong, but I just wasn't blown away by it. I get why some people would be like all blown away by it. Like first time a female-led superhero movie is actually good, everything like that. Or, it's the best of, like for me, the big thing is always everyone's like, it's the best movie in the DCEU. I'm like, yeah. And Revenge of the Sith was the best of the Star Wars prequels.
I guess if you put it that way, you're right. Because I was one of those people going around saying it is the best of the DCEU. But
and this is one of those things I don't disagree with that statement. I agree with it 110%. But like I said, it doesn't have much to go up against, especially if you want to compare it to the likes of, I don't know, Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly. Or Batman versus Superman. But the bottom line is, for you personally, you will see the difference because I know you're a big Joss Whedon fan. In fact, you're a bigger one than I am.
Yes.
You're going to see the differences between the two directors. It's going to be night and day.
Well, yeah.
And I don't mean that in a good way.
Joss has a pretty visible signature on everything that he does.
Oh, it's just always filled with scathing sarcasm.
Yep.
Yeah, which is why everybody loves him. But at any rate, the point I'm trying to get at is, for me personally, I liked Wonder Woman when I walked out of seeing that. But after I walked out of, I mean, I know I kind of gave it a decent enough review on my previous podcast, but as time has gone on, like I've really started to think about it, and like I haven't seen it since. But the moral of the story is that movie is a hot mess, and it makes you not like Wonder Woman a little bit more. Me personally, it made me not like Wonder Woman a little bit more, or make me like Wonder Woman a little bit less, because it was one of those things where you gave me hope, and then you let me down, DCEU.
And they will never not let you down.
Well, that brings us to what I'm trying to say is, so here's the thing. Both these trailers, did you notice the biggest difference about these trailers versus any other trailer that the DCEU has released?
What's that?
There was color.
Yeah. Aquaman was pretty colorful.
They were both bright and colorful, which, okay, fine. Like, let's be real here. I kind of sort of hate that blue filter that Zack Snyder has to use in every movie he does. Let's start with Shazam first, because that's the one I saw first. Okay? For me personally, I appreciate the fact that DC is finally starting to listen to the criticisms and they're trying to make things a little bit lighter. But something about Shazam made me think you're just trying to be Ant-Man.
You want to know what it reminded me of, actually? Big.
Like with
Tom Hanks,
with Tom Hanks. Yeah, back in the 80s. I could see. Okay, you know what? I could see I could see what you're saying is because of the angle they're trying to go with here, and that is kind of sort of what Billy Batson / Shazam has been about. But I'm just talking in terms of tone,
right? Like humor and like not taking itself so seriously.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is? I kind of sort of don't like that because, look, I never had a problem with the fact that the DCEU is trying to be darker than their counterparts in the MCU. I get it. I get that, okay? You don't want to do the exact...
It's their plot.
What?
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's their plot and their character development that is the worst part about it all. I mean, it just bothers me. I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the fact that Batman killed in Batman versus Superman. In fact, you know what? As much garbage as I will talk about that movie, I can't deny it. Ben Affleck was without a doubt the best part of that movie. He was. Wait till you see Justice League. No. Without giving too much away, the biggest thing I didn't like about their take on Batman in this was he physically and visibly shows that he's out of his depths when he's fighting these aliens. Which I don't like, because even if he is out of his depth, Batman doesn't show it.
Going to like rehab right after he filmed that one.
Yeah, something like that. He went into AA. Yeah. At any rate. So, and I'm not going to sit here and say, because I've seen the trailer twice now, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't think parts of the movie weren't funny. It's just, I don't like the idea that now it feels like they're just trying to straight up copy Marvel with that.
No, you're right.
Like, because here's the thing. And I understand why people think this. Like, there are most arguments against the Marvel Cinematic Universe I'll at least entertain. There's two I won't hear. The first I won't hear is when they break down the structure of the Marvel movies is just, there's only 20 minutes of dialogue and then a 10-minute fight scene, then another 20 minutes of dialogue, then another 10-minute fight scene. And the bad guys got this doomsday device that they got to stop, which every time I hear that argument, I'm just thinking, this is literally the plot to every single action movie in the history of the world. That is the formula every single action movie has followed. Period.
You're right.
So I won't. So that and I don't like hearing that. They're just not dark enough. I mean, yeah, obviously Marvel wants to lean more towards humor, but but when they get dark, I mean, they kind of gloss over it, I'll admit. But I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy opens up with Peter Quill watching his mother lose a battle to cancer. Then he finds out his dad's this demigod who gave his mother cancer, and tried to create like another being to help him destroy the universe with his kids, and all his kids kept dying, and he just like throws them in a mass grave.
Fucked up.
That's pretty dark. That's pretty dark. Or how about the fact that, Steve Rogers knew that his best friend killed Tony Stark's parents and didn't tell Tony about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked. Yeah. So what I'm simply trying to say is, though, like the way I always broke it down, it was My problem when it came to the tone of the DC movies, even though I just said I like their dark, let's just say, for example, Marvel, their formula is let's go 80% lighthearted fun, 20% dark. With DC, they kind of want to, I feel if they want to go dark, fine, but you still need to give me some light.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, so if they want to go 80% dark, fine. Go 80% dark, but you still need to give me the 20% light. You know? And they don't give me any light. But at any rate, so I just think it's weird that they're going what seems like to be a full-fledged comedy
It
now.
did, yeah, it kind of looked that way. But you want to know what with that kind of, but see that I just contradicted my own self. Never mind. I was gonna say,
No, what were you gonna say?
you're
Just say
right.
it.
They are going. It looks like they're going with a full-fledged comedy, but with that kind of subject matter or that kind of plot device, anyways, you really can't do anything else but a comedy. Oh, look, it's a 13-year-old kid who turns into a dude. Like all you could really go with that was comedy. But even the Aquaman trailer looked it looked a little light.
It looked a little light. Yeah, it did look a little light. And let me just wrap this up with I think you could actually do a dark plot with with a 13-year-old kid becoming a superhero. I mean, the best way I can explain it is it looks like it tries to have the plot of Spider-Man or like the themes of Spider-Man,
Okay.
but the humor of Ant-Man. Yeah, which on paper sounds great, but I'm just like, no, like I do like the idea that DC was trying to be the darker of the two. I really do. So at any rate, what was I trying to say? That I'm just saying, I think Shazam, given the character in and of himself, I think they could have gone with a darker plot than that. Or at least what they're showing us in the trailers.
Hey, who knows? It could get dark halfway through the movie. It could get dark, and they just didn't.
It could, and I hope it does. And again, as always, when I talk about these DC movies and my anticipations of them just not looking good, I always hope I'm wrong. I really, really do. But the big thing for me is just, I think that they're going. I guess what you're saying is, yeah, given that they're going with like a 13-year-old kid, I guess you could do a lighter thing. I'm just saying, I think I would have preferred to see. Shazam is just too awesome. Shazam is just another Superman, basically, and he's too awesome of a character to be the lighthearted character. He's too big. He's one of those larger than life characters. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is I'm thinking maybe a character like Plastic Man, giving him a movie and making him the funny guy of the DCEU. That could have worked out better in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. But Aquaman, I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know much about Aquaman. Again, I haven't seen Justice League, but he probably didn't have that big of a role in Justice League. I mean, maybe he did.
No, he had a decent enough sized role, and like I predicted, he was my favorite character.
So
that's what this is, and this is always what I feel like DC's
movies?
problems have always been, or has been. It's the fact that they're not doing the origin. They're not. Again, this is one of those things where they're just literally trying to flip the script on Marvel and just doing the exact opposite. Whereas Marvel was all, hey, let's give certain characters individual movies and then have them get together. DC's more like, hey, let's have them get together and then show an origins movie.
No.
Yeah, which that's one of those things where, like, I'm sorry, dudes, but like you should have just that's the one aspect you should have just ripped right out of Marvel's playbook. That's the one aspect. The one thing I definitely say I like most about Jason Momoa's character take on Aquaman is it doesn't matter what type of Aquaman I get, whether or not it's a cartoon character or, whatever, like the goofier, lighter version or like the more serious Aquaman. He always carries himself with an air of nobility. I like how this Aquaman is more like a pirate.
Yeah, he did seem pirate-like, didn't he?
Yeah, I like that, and I also like his whole take no prisoners thing. I mean, like, it definitely feels like Jason Momoa is at the very least going to breathe some life into a character. He himself is just going to breathe some life into a character that, for all intents and purposes, has been the butt of a lot of superhero jokes.
He really has been.
Yeah.
Gay men love Aquaman.
Wait, really?
I mean, they're going to love him even fucking more now, but...
Wait, why did they love him in the first place?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a gay man, but I know that they like Aquaman.
All right. Probably because he walks around with his shirt off all the time.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what else to say about this, just because, I mean, I don't know what it is, but this one just feels like it's going to be, they're trying to make this like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but underwater.
Well, that would be awful.
Right?
Come up with your own fucking ideas.
It's not even that they're not trying to come up with their own ideas. I think it's just that their problem has been that they have had such a tough time trying to figure out what to do with the DCEU and try and catch up to Marvel, that at this point, everything, no matter what they do, it's either going to be, oh, you're trying to be too different than Marvel, or you're trying to be exactly the same as Marvel
Just
now.
fucking start over.
From what
I would completely support a complete reboot of the DCEU. Start over. Do it again.
Yeah. You tried and you failed, and that's okay. Now you know what not to do. Step 1, don't hire Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Definitely don't hire Zack Snyder.
Yeah, nope.
He's awful.
Nope. Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, like, I feel like since the DCEU, for the most part, like, the thing that made Wonder Woman work was the fact that, yeah, it had its dark moments, and they still ended up using that weird blue filter. But the thing about that movie, what set it apart was I felt like it was actually truer to the character than any of the other DCEU movies, particularly Man of Steel.
Okay.
I mean, like, it was, the movie felt a little bit more uplifting, which was fine. I mean, if you want to go dark, that's what Batman's for. Don't make Superman dark too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen, obviously there aren't that many Superman movies, but
yeah,
the originals were great.
I mean, the first one, he didn't throw a punch at all, so
I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of them, except for Brandon Roth's one. I didn't like his.
I never saw that one.
It's not that good.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. That's what a lot of people say.
It's supposed to be a direct sequel to Christopher Reeve's ones, I think. And
it is. And to be fair, Brandon Routh did kind of look like Christopher Reeve,
kinda,
so
a little bit.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit. All right. Yeah, I don't know if there's much else we can talk about, really.
Yeah, we spent 45 minutes talking about 3 trailers, so yeah, nerd life. I like how you called me up and you're like, let's do this quick little podcast for 10 minutes.
I know, and now it's like a full-fledged podcast. Whatever. Now I have more content, so whatever. So at any rate, let's just wrap this up real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Shazam?
I give it a 2 because it's DC and I don't know anything about Shazam. I'm gonna give it a chance, but it's gonna be whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I'm giving it like a 3.5. And Aquaman, I'm giving like a flat out 2.
Yeah,
A lot of this just has to do, and again, I hope I'm wrong. A lot of this just has to do with the whole, what do you call it? The reputation that the DCEU has built up for itself.
I'm gonna give Aquaman a 3. I'm excited to see it, but not because it's like a comic book movie or it's DC or Aquaman or anything like that. It's just because I have never seen Jason Momoa in anything where he's spoken before.
He spoke in Game of Thrones.
Barely, and not in English.
You should check out The Frontier, actually, on Netflix. I haven't finished watching the first season yet, but he's the main character, and he's actually pretty badass in it. So,
okay, all right, I'll check it out.
I could see Jason Momoa, if he plays his cards right, I could see Jason Momoa becoming the next Rock.
Oh yeah.
Only I hope he doesn't oversaturate himself to the same level that The Rock has done.
Well, no, but The Rock had his WWE career before that, so he definitely had a leg up and was like, he was a household name before he was a movie star.
That is true, but he was Jason Momoa was called Drago.
It's also true.
People alone will go see that movie just because of that.
I know. The girls fawning over him are disgusting.
You just don't understand.
I guess not.
He's a badass with a sense of humor. That's what the ladies like. The straight ladies, that is.
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, I know you don't. So yeah, I guess that's just gonna do it for us for this wonderful little 10-minute add-on to a podcast that has now turned into its own podcast.
Love it.
Love it. So yeah, Meg, thanks for taking the 10 minutes out of your day.
Hey, no problem. I wasn't doing anything at all.
Exactly.
Anyways, yeah.
So yeah, all righty. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us, Meg. Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thanks
Meg.
for having me.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon, Meg.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.